All right, guys, welcome back to Zando Football. Definitely appreciate the support. In this video, I want to get into some pass protection from the run and gun playbook. And obviously, this will transfer over or translate over to your offense when you're in spread type sets. Okay, so a lot of people may struggle against man pressure looks, but once you get the hang of pass protection, you can be very comfortable in the pocket and still operate or function with your offense. All right, so I'll get right into it. I can make 1,000 videos on this, but maybe we'll just go bit by bit, formation by formation. All right, so right away, why don't I get this out here? I come out and we are in our clear out play, and we notice we get this mug type look here. All right, so you can see the play art. We are in a half slide protection here. So these guys are going to slide this way, and then we are big on big here. And then our back is involved in the pass protection. He's in a check release. Okay, so if just looking at this, I think the pass protection would go something like this. Big on big here. We're going to slide and take care of these three guys. And then our back will check to see if this guy comes. If he gets out of there, then I'll release out and swing to the flat. However, if he comes, then he will block him. And the benefit of this protection here is when we snap the ball, it makes it easier to read your concept. A lot of guys, they see this, they snap the ball because you're not accustomed to who's going to block who, and you don't know if they're going to pick up everybody. You're peeking in here first as the play starts out, and then you're looking late into your pass concept, and this is where you can panic and make errors. All right, but when you know how we are going to pick up everyone up front, and you know who is hot, all right, so in this situation, I'm not really hot off of anyone. We're really hot off of this guy. All right, and if he comes, then we would be just throwing this guy right away because he's just running right into the open space that he's vacating. But I don't have to pay attention to anybody in the box at all because I know if everyone comes, we have an answer for everybody. And that's the pass protection that we have set up. So I can just read my concept. All right. And that's why I think it's important to understand pass protection. Now he brings this guy down. All right. And you see how the hot signal keeps jumping around? That's because the game, I didn't set my protection. This is automatic. All right. And if you stick to this automatic of how the game sets the protection, you will not be in an optimal protection. You just won't. Okay. You won't necessarily have to guess on who you're throwing hot off of because we are hot off of this guy. So let's draw this up how the game changed it. All right. Why don't I go back? This is a good exercise. If you're not big on pass protection, you don't care about this, then there's other videos I have on my channel, but I think there are some guys who are, I guess, nerds like me who like this stuff. This is pretty good information here. All right, so look how they move the signal there. So this is how they would pick it up. We still have this 3-man slide. So now we know the slide is picking up these guys. And the HB icon is on this guy, so we know these guys are big on big. And then this guy is checking to see if this guy comes, all right? And that's why we are hot off of this defender, okay? So if we snap the ball and this guy comes, as the quarterback, you know that no one is blocking him. You have to get rid of the ball before he gets to you because we are not blocking him, all right? We are tied up in pass protection everywhere else, all right? To me, this pass protection that we have set for this is terrible, because we know as a defensive lineman, the probability of him coming on a rush is over 95% of the time. All right. You don't want to have to throw hot every single time. You don't have to. You want your pass concept to develop down the field, right? So this is a suboptimal pass protection setup for the play that we have called with the box. And the reason why the computer is swinging it over here is because he brought him down into the box. And the game wants to take care of the interior first. So they're extending it out to here. But we know, based upon how people play, what people are, they do this for a reason. They do this in previous Maddens because they want to mess with the blocking scheme. But the game has given us the ability to negate that by understanding pass protection. So let's go ahead and move forward. Okay, now it moves it over there, right? So we can look at this, and I know how this is going to get picked up here. All right. 3-man slide. They have that. All right. Pass protection icon is there, so he's responsible for him if he rushes. Let me get a good color here. And then now we are big on big, making us hot off of that defender. Now, the reason why this is terrible, okay, multiple reasons. One, if this guy comes, that's not too bad. He should be able to reach him. The slide is fine, but this defender right here has superior leverage on this offensive tackle, right? That's just not a good pass protection scheme for that. And then I would say one of the worst things about this scheme is the back is checking to deal with a defensive lineman. You don't want your back one-on-one with a defensive lineman. I've seen people say, I'd rather my running back block the defensive lineman on pass protection schemes and all that. And that's fine and dandy, but to me, that is a mismatch in favor of the defense every single time. You're just going to run him over, and you're not going to have ample protection in that sense. All right. And then this guy, we are throwing hot off of this guy, right? So there's so many things bad with this pass protection here. Okay, because your back is never going to get out into a route because this guy's always coming, right? So you're forced into 6-man protection. And what a defense can do with this too is when he rushes and he stays in the block him, and then I get out and pass block. All right. Well, now we have 6-man protection and they're rushing 4, right? So now they have 7 in the back end to defend 4 routes. Okay, so again, this would be a suboptimal pass protection for the front that we have. All right, so this is where I should change it here. I did. So I did full slide to the right. I really don't like the back on the defensive lineman there. Okay, and that's perfect. So you saw what I did there. I changed the hot, right? And obviously you guys know how to do that with the pass protection icon, right? So I moved the icon to this player. And what that does is it says, hey, look, we don't want to block this guy. I want my offensive protection to ignore him and then reset everything based upon that. So I did full slide to the right and I put the hot icon on that player. And now we are in a full slide to where the entire offensive line is sliding 1 gap to the right. All right. Which means we are taking care of 5 sliding for 5. And now the back is check and releasing off of that defender. If he comes, I got him. If he doesn't, I'll swing out into my route. So this is the best of so many different worlds here because this guy, if one of these players are going to pop out into pass coverage, it's going to be the linebacker on the outside, not the defensive lineman, right? So that means if this guy pops out, I at least get 6 people out into routes. Second of all, it takes the back off of blocking a defensive lineman, all right? We don't want that. If we're going to block somebody with the back, we'd rather it be a same player type like the backer, right? So if he does come, at least we don't have a disadvantage here, all right? And then further at the end of the line, this player here, who is a user, who was a safety, brought him down. He is the least likely to come on a blitz, right? Because it's the user. Usually the user is trying to mug a gap to mess with offensive line protection, and then they bail out of there, right? So we are hot off of this defender. If he comes, then we got to get rid of the ball before he gets to us. That's us throwing hot. However, if he bails out of there at the snap of the ball, we don't have to panic. I don't care if everyone else comes. We can still hit our back foot, read our concept, and throw the ball. All right. So we'll go ahead and run it. Okay, at the snap of the ball, the second I see him sitting flat, I don't have to. And he's bringing, it looks like he's bringing everybody and he's getting out of there. You don't even have to look down here, right? You can just completely ignore your vision, doesn't have to worry about what's going on here. You could be comfortable, read your concept, and go from there. Now, in this play, remember, he's the first one in the read with the way people play online. I should have ripped it right there. All right, but I chose to try to lob it over the top in the middle of the field. So go watch my video on the clear out play from this formation. All right, so that's why I didn't rip it. So I was in my game here. All right, so he was mugging and getting out of there, but look how clean the pocket is, right? We're still in the pocket. I waited so he can get over the top. And in true Joe Flacco fashion on the game, we get it overthrow. So maybe I'll speed this up because that was a long explanation. All right, and I move the icon. So I went half slide to the right, move the icon on the user coming down because I know he's probably not coming. All right, and this is what we got, right? The play is telling you what's going on. We're getting our slide this way. We're big on big here, and he's checking to see if this guy comes, right? So now we're just reading this player at the snap of the ball. If he comes, then we throw our hot, right? Snap, he doesn't come, so you don't have to panic. You don't have to get rid of the ball quick. Everyone, we are covered in protection here. Hit my back foot. Look how I'm not drifting 20 yards back because I'm afraid of the blitz because I know I'm good. And in true terrible user fashion, I put too much air on the ball. But that play was there, right? So that's all on me. All right, this is not good. Back on the defensive end. All right, this is good, right? I moved the hot on the user here. And I went full slide to the right. So now we're 5-on-5 here. All right. 5-on-5. I'll slide pick him up, check, see if he comes. So we're hot off this defender. Snap. And he didn't come. All right. I'm probably throwing the flat here. I did. We can go back. I don't know why he came scot-free there. Oh, we're hot off two defenders. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, so I know why I did this. I know I did. So let's go back. So I took him off the check release. So notice how the HB icon was on that guy. All right. So I'll check to see if he comes. If he comes, I'll block him. All right. But if he goes out into a route, then I'll swing out to the flat. All right. So that was the play design there. But due to the alignment of the defense, I decided to change it and get him on the flat right now. And that's why we have two hot icons on these players, right? Because originally the hot icon was just on this guy here. Again, because we had a full slide with the offensive lineman, and then I'm checking a release on this guy if he comes. So now we're just hot off of this defender. But I decided to get him into the flat now because there's no one over the top of the outside apex defender to defend this flat if you do decide to come, right? So what that means is if he comes on a blitz, there's no one for the flat, right? If he were to do something like blitz and then I spin out to try to get to the flat, I could still throw that right away because he'd be out leveraged. So that's on the fly. I thought about that due to the alignment of the defense and you being the only one being able to deal with that quick flat. I decided to go ahead and put him into a flat route. And again, that would put this guy as now he's hot as well because we're not going to block him if he comes on a rush. So the second I see him come, I'm throwing hot off of this defender, right? And here it is. You see all the space here, and the next closest defender to get to the flat is a user who's out leveraged to the flat. So we throw it right away before. That's what throwing hot is all about. The ball is gone before that free rusher can get to the quarterback. I waited Pretty much almost the last possible moment to throw that. Didn't like how it slowed down my receiver. And we get a big gain off of throwing hot. I got to move this along. All right, so now I check into Stick Dragon. And I guess this is a pretty good video because now we're going to get into another concept of why I like spread. All right, so if you have a problem, if you hate the guessing game of who's coming and who's not coming, all right, you know, a lot of guys want to tighten up. They want to put their coat on. They want to put on the blanket and they want to condense down and bring in tight ends. We're going to bring in a fullback and we're going to block 6 and 7. And I wish I could find the video I had on Kurt Warner that I watched on Kurt Warner where he said he doesn't like condensing down and tightening up, getting more blockers if you're playing against a team that's blitzing so much. How about we spread them out, right? And that's my philosophy as well. If you're dealing with a guy who's blitzing all the time with all these mug type looks, spread is a great weapon against that if you understand how to utilize the short passing game and attacking misalignments, attacking leverage, using leverage in your favor and all that. And you'll see exactly why here, right? So the first 4 or 5 plays, I kept the same look and I threw off of that. But now we're going to give my opponent something else that he has to account for. And that's us going empty. Watch how moving into empty makes it easier for us to understand who's coming and who's not. Move him out and look at that, right? So now we know obviously he's not coming. Okay, and it makes us pass protection a little bit easier to understand what's going on. The most likely pressure package would be this. This is the user. You're probably not coming. So how about we get a pass protection to deal with these 5 players, make him the hot because we know he's probably getting out of there, and then we know we are good in pass protection, right? So it's probably what I did. Yep, move the hot icon on the user there. I don't know why it moved it over to that defensive end. Okay, now he backs out this guy, right? So now it seems like he's not coming. So I wonder what I did here. I probably still put it on a user. I did. Okay, so I put it on him. So I guess I figure, you know, because he's doing something weird here where I'll put the hot on him. So we'll ignore him and then we'll deal with this. But if he kicks out of there and he decides to come, he's so far away that at the snap of the ball, once the center notices that he's out of there, he should be able to pivot over and deal with him. So that's why I put the hot icon on him, I would assume. And I'm running Stick Dragon, right? So obviously he's not coming. Doesn't look like he's coming, so we're good in pass protection. All right. Maybe I shouldn't go over Stick Dragon, but I will. Use the timestamp, guys. You know, I won't go over it here. We'll just go ahead and run the play. I'm probably looking weak here and just reading this defender. He will dictate where I go with the ball. If he widens with the flat, then I throw the slant because you guys are tucked closer to the strong side. If he stays in the window of the slant, then I'll probably throw the flat. The reason why I would be unafraid of throwing that flat is because there is no cap defender for this corner. So he shouldn't be driving on a hard flat to take out this flat route, right? Let's see what happens. He widens. I'm probably throwing the slant. And there it is. Go back and watch the pass protection here. Okay, they don't come, so I'm not worried at all. Even if they were to come, the ball comes out so quick it doesn't matter, right? So I think it's really important to get comfortable on your quick game, your stick, your dragon, your Hoss, all those types of concepts where within the first 2 steps of your drop, you know where you're going with the ball. Okay, so now we get a real weird look, but there's no one over the, this is where you get so many weird looks playing against people online. This is how you know you're just playing against some random guy who's just doing anything, right? This guy isn't, no one's covering the tight end. Okay, so I think I drew up the stick. I should throw this right away if this guy comes. Don't remember what I did. I ran the tiger concept on this side. Let's see what I did here. No, I really wanted to attack backside here. I think I got a big play here. So I threw hot again. We can go back and take a look at that. Yeah, I wanted to guarantee that everyone inside is dealt with, and I'm throwing hot off of these guys. This is a suboptimal pass protection for what I'm doing. I think theoretically I probably should have got it to where well, maybe it's not too bad. I mean, yeah, I shouldn't be throwing to this side. I really shouldn't. I should be attacking this side 100%. So I did the best I was just fixated on wanting to throw this side. So I did the best I could with that to have to throw hot off of these guys. And this is where we get into drifting. So I'll just go ahead and play it. Maybe I'll get into drifting later on in this video because this isn't looking too good. I'm only halfway through. I bet you I started drifting to the right away based upon the pass protection. You should see that. Notice how I'm drifting right? Because I know I'm hot off of this side, okay? And maybe I knew the user would have to deal with the tagger concept there, and that's where we get a big play. Throwing hot, all right? I think I'll just go ahead and move forward. So this guy wanted to stay in hot coverage like all game. I think being able to throw hot, operate in quick game, still function as an offense when you're dealing with cover zero, that's when you're in a good place, all right? A lot of times you get guys who, when they get cover zero, let's say this is the play they called, they get cover zero, what they do is they'll change the whole play, right? Drag, move him in, drag, block back, right? You'll have a pass concept like this. And then maybe like a curl and curl block. And the problem with that is now your opponent can start showing you this look. And then at the snap of the ball, getting out of there and max 7 in the back end. And now you're running concepts that don't stretch defenders. You're running concepts that strictly attack man, you know, underneath crossers and all that. And you're running into zones that are playing with better leverage to the inside of those routes or to the outside of those routes. And you're doing it in a way to where now you have 6 in protection as well. So you only got 4 out into routes trying to attack 7 in the coverage. All right, that's when your opponent has got you. That's why you still have to be able to function as an offense against cover zero. Notice how I'm not changing like 3 or 4 routes because I'm getting cover zero. I'm staying within the functionality of the offense. That's what I'm trying to get at here. All right. All right, so this is the play. We are going to slide here, big on big here, and then my back is going to check, release here. If you come, I'll get them. So who are we hot off of? This player here. And because he doesn't come, I don't have to worry about not being able to hit my back foot, right? I don't have to throw hot. I'm not even looking down here. I shouldn't be. You should only be feeling if one of your players gets beat one-on-one, right? So my eyes are downfield. And what do we see? This giant open space, and he's attacking that, so we could probably lob it over his head. I wonder if I did that here. I didn't. I think I pumped. I think this is the play where I pumped that deep middle throw, even though it was available. Then I step into the pocket and throw that outside in. Right? So look at how comfortable we are within the offense, despite them showing a cover zero look. And it's all because the one player we are hot off of did not come. And because you don't come, I know I have time in the pocket. All right, maybe we'll finish this out. Okay, here I pretty much knew it was cover zero all the way with the safety inside leverage here. At least that's what I was assuming. I just wanted to throw this quick little out over there, right? So, you know, I don't care if it doesn't matter if someone comes scot-free. The ball's going to be gone before he gets there. That was the extension of the run there. Okay, so this is the example I went over earlier to where there's not someone covering my number 3 here. So with him running it out against man or sticking it against zone, okay, this should be pretty open here. So I think I probably stayed in this. Yeah, this is where you may think it's suboptimal to have the defensive lineman as your hot, but in a look like this, I don't think it's that bad. It's probably why I stayed in this. I would assume I did, because in most cases, he's probably coming, right? Which means we're not blocking him. So we have to get rid of the ball quick. But if he does come, there's no one to get in the window of this because the player who's capping this defender is so far inside, right? So if you come, I could just rip this right away, knowing he cannot make a play. However, the only person who can make a play, or at least deviate, make us deviate from throwing this route, is the defensive end. If he widens in like a fire zone type deal, all right, well then we really can't. We probably still can throw it, but it would discourage us a little bit more. All right, but that would be fine because if he bails out of there, we're good in pass protection here. Okay, so I remember watching a video with who's that guy, John Gruden, and he was talking about Drew Brees. I remember watching the tape where Drew Brees changed the pass protection to where they would make the defensive end hot, which I thought was insane in the game. And he snapped the ball, and the offensive lineman slid away from that defensive end, who popped out. I guess they were in like a fire zone, and Drew Brees was able to make his reads knowing that he didn't have to throw hot. And I thought it was amazing, right?
You know, I wanted you to see this. This is an amazing deal. He studied enough tape. Think about this. The best pass rusher the Falcons have is John Abraham. Yeah. He's great. Great player. The last thing you want to do is make a mistake against him. Okay. But how does Drew Brees see a 4-week blitz coming? You got me? He walks up there, looks like he made a razor call, which tells the left tackle, go to the right. Left guard, step to your right.
Yeah, we call this Ray.
Okay. He makes a razor call. And he's going to let Reggie Bush have a free release. He's going to give Shockey a free release. And he's going to just turn this guy loose. He basically is saying, I know he's dropping because of the zone pressure. You got me? Now, how many guys in the NFL or in the world would go up there on Monday Night Football, take control of the game, point right at that blitzer and say, hey, bud, we're going to razor right into your ass, and not block John Abraham? That's amazing. And then to stand in there and work the hole and shred Atlanta, that is awesome.
The way he handled that is unreal.
I should have snapped the ball right away and threw that, but when he moved over, that ruined the entire concept of what I was trying to do. And this is where I should have changed the protection and did something different. But this is where, you know, the laziness kicks in and you just want to snap the ball anyway. And now we're kind of ruined on the concept here. Okay, so this was my fault. I'm not Drew Brees. Okay, I should have changed the protection because now he's playing harder inside to where he can potentially get in the window of this. Should have ripped it right at the top of the route. I think what probably threw me off here is I wanted him to go out. He's still out leveraged to the out. But the game is just not dynamic. All right. Where in this play, he's supposed to run it out against man and stick it against zone. Okay. But the game does it to where in real life, I think he would run this out every single time. But I guess because this player is in zone with the play, but the user is playing really hard inside here, the computer runs the route because, hey, they're actually in zone. That's the play call by the user, right? They're not really, it's not a dynamic type of thing with the route reading. This is why the run and shoot offense in the game is damn near impossible to play, at least for me. Because if you're reading the routes and you're reading areas of the field and your receivers are running the wrong routes based upon the input and output of your opponent, it just ruins the way you play the offense. Right. And that's one thing I wish they could fix in Madden. I don't think that they can. Right. So that, I think that's what threw me off. I wanted to throw the out, but I noticed he sticks it. So he just drives on it. And then I just take a sack. It looked like I wanted to throw the fade at the last second. So I didn't like that here. Now I'm like, all right, let me throw that outside fade because it's press. But my receiver got destroyed at the LOS. All right, so I could throw that. All right, so we are in a 6-man protection. I gotta have to cut that off and get back to this real quick. All right, I don't like that. So again, you want to make, in a lot of cases, you want your hot defender to be the guy who's least likely to come on a rush a lot of times. Okay, there's other times to where, you know, like in the play I showed with the defensive end, if you're attacking the leverage of the defense because someone is uncapped, you may want it on a defensive lineman. Okay, so, you know, it depends on what the defense is doing. But based upon what my opponent was doing all game, he was calling cover 0. He was taking the safety down, who was in man coverage, and he was getting out of there with that safety every time. And with this player being capped and the play that I have run, that I'm trying to run, I should make this guy the hot and have the back. Well, he's going to stay in protection anyway with the play action, but we don't want to be hot off of this guy. So I move the hot on this guy. We can guess how it's going to play with this. I would assume they would do something like this. 2, 3. Yeah, I think the game's going to do something crazy here. And then they would have him work back for the linebacker. Let's see. Okay, that's good. All right, so that's better. So I probably left it here. So you see, we're going to get the 3-man slide here. We're going to be big on big here. And because this is a linebacker, we're going to play action, and then you're going to step in, and you're going to deal with him on his rush. So we are hot off of this defender. Snap. Okay, so he mugs, and he's getting out of there. So I'm not even looking down here. I'm looking downfield. Look how the play action kind of holds the user underneath a little bit longer. You can be comfortable in our reads. Look how clean that pocket is. And once I see all this space inside on our play, remember with this play how we read it. Okay, we can read 1 to 2 to 3. And this should be a touchdown here. So that's pretty good against cover 0. So he did something funky with cover 1, brought the safety down. I would imagine that he was the deep middle safety. All right. But now that middle of the field is wide open. So, you know, he's the cover 1 safety, I would assume. And he wants to play underneath because of this look. And he feels like players are going to try to get rid of the ball quick. So he's probably hanging in the window here underneath, but he has ruined the integrity of the defense. The defense is expecting deep middle help from the safety. And once our outside post breaks inside of that divider route, that corner is going to be with outside leverage on that, and that window is wide open, right? We're able to process the information there, be comfortable in the pocket, hit our back foot, and not throw quick because we understand pass protection. This is a great play to use against cover zero guys when you utilize the pass protection feature with it, and you put the hot read on the guy who is least likely to come. So he's supposed to be here, but he's not. We can imagine, what if he was in his area of the field and taking away this throw? Okay, well, now that deep in would break into the window here, right? So see, he's here. I mean, he's just never right here, right? You're being aggressive underneath because of the blitz. You're leaving this area of the field open. If you were up here, this window will be open for the deep end. So I hope you got something from this video. I know it was pretty long, but hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight of pass protection and how to utilize it in the game, especially from Gun Trey Open. I think it's important to get comfortable with pass protection so you can still function as an offense. Notice how in all these plays, I'm not changing every route in my offensive concept. I can still function as an offense despite them showing mug, cover zero pressure and all that. All right, so I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.